Eu converso com o representante especial para assuntos de negócios e comércio dos Estados Unidos, Dilawar Syed. Thank you so much for this interview. So you just came back from Brazil, São Paulo, right? Was a good trip?
Awesome trip. You know, it's been my first official visit as State Department official. I've been there as an entrepreneur in São Paulo before. Love the energy, love to be in Brazil.
Good, good. So Ambassador Brian Nichols just came back from Brasilia as well. Can we say that is it a new moment for the bilateral commercial relations among U.S. and Brazil after the bilateral meeting among the two presidents, Lula and Joe Biden? How would you describe this bilateral commercial relationship?
Yes, between President Biden and President Lula. Look, I mean, when you look at the whole relationship, we go back to 200 years. We are two of the top economies in the Western Hemisphere. We have relationships when it comes to people, economic. Clearly, this moment represents a new opportunity. We are making historic investments in the United States under President Biden, industrial policy, the like of which we haven't seen since the New Deal. Obviously, we also care about the relationship. Much of the investments will also help our relationship with Brazil. So it's definitely an opportunity for us to go deeper. When it comes to the work I do at the State Department, it is to drive more commercial investment in the country. That's why we were there, to make sure the U.S. companies continue to be a force for good, to drive a shared prosperity both in Brazil and the United States.
U.S. is the biggest investor in the state of São Paulo. Can you give some ideas of numbers to show how big is this investment in that state, and regarding other Brazilian states as well in the southeast?
Absolutely. So we have $3.5 billion worth of FDI, 2021 numbers in the state of São Paulo. The city itself, is about 1.8 billion, I believe. So it's a pretty big number, right? Obviously, because São Paulo is the commercial, capital, if you will, of Brazil. But we also want to make sure, just like we do at home, that we are not focused on the regions that are doing well, but also regions that are underserved. But I'll say, Patricia, very importantly, also communities that are underserved. One thing that strikes me always is the incredible diversity of Brazil. 56% of Brazilians are of Afro descent. I actually spent some time with Afro-Brazilian women entrepreneurs, with VCs who are trying to drive investment in the Afro-Brazilian communities. And for us, that's as important as the underserved regions.
There was a number of Brazilian officials recently in China, in Beijing. I was there in that coverage. The Brazilian Minister for Economy, Fernando Haddad, said at that meeting that there was an outflow of U.S. investors in Brazil in the past years, referring from the past Brazilian administration. Is it accurate, do you think, that this reality, that there was an outflow of the U.S. investors in Brazil in the past, and are we in the right path now?
So our current volume for the trade in the two countries is about $89 billion, 2021 figures. 2022 figures. That's actually an increase of 26% over 2021. So that's what the trajectory is, and that's what we really care about. There could be pandemic-related issues that everyone face, and with a lot of our partners. Again, what we are seeing is there is a rejuvenation of our commercial relationship. Our companies are present there. They're investing in industries of the future. I actually spent some time at VTEX Day, which was this major e-commerce tech event in São Paulo. And I saw U.S. companies that are, in big colors in that event. Amazon Web Services were there that are driving 85% of the cloud traffic in Brazil. Again, these are the companies that literally are the real barometer of what the depth of our infrastructure, digital infrastructure, connection with the Brazilian economy is. So to answer your question, we're only seeing an increase on a year-over-year trade when it comes to our current numbers and future.
In regarding Brazilian entrepreneurs that they might be interested in strengthening ties with the U.S. government, what are the channels that they might look at, and how they can approach those channels in order to invest or to get contact with?
So first, the U.S. venture community is a major actor in the Brazilian entrepreneur ecosystem. Some of the folks that I've done business with in my previous life. 9 unicorns that are coming out of Brazil are all actually supported by United States venture community. So my message to entrepreneurs when I spent time at Cubo and in Sao Paulo was that you need to continue to build these relationships with Silicon Valley and other tech VCs. when we find a credible solution, and that often comes from amazingly passionate entrepreneurs in places like Brazil, companies will back them. Again, our key go-to-market asset is our commercial investment, and that is open to Brazil. There's also a significant Brazilian American diaspora in the United States. In South Florida, we're very proud of them. They play a big role as well in channeling that investment for Brazilian entrepreneurs.
A big issue for us and for the world, it's the climate change. What are the developments among U.S. and Brazilian commercial relationships regarding that topic?
So 2 projects that we are very excited about, just as an example, are in the renewable energy side. Citibank is actually a lead financer for a $346 million worth of wind power project in Brazil. We also have a consortium led by a couple of companies that is channeling up to $5 billion worth of investment in a breadth of renewable energy projects over the next 5 years with a capacity of 1 gigawatt. So that's just 2 examples I'm giving you just on the renewable energy side. So our commitment when it comes to our private sector leading the way is strong. It's actually being shown with actual investments, actual real dollars that are being deployed as we speak.
And what are the main interests of the U.S. investors in Brazil today? Which areas are priority? We know that smart cities were a topic as well among your meetings.
Look, I mean, obviously our relationship is broad. Both economies are very diverse, and so is Brazil. So it's infrastructure. We talked about that. I actually met with officials of São Paulo economic development team. And we talked about smart cities as an initiative. We talked about infrastructure. Water waste management is a big challenge we know in Sao Paulo that our companies are helping with. We talked about communications. We're very happy again that US tech companies are involved, and they can rely on trusted vendors for telecommunications. So again, it's a breadth, but of course you also have retail. You also have energy, traditional energy, as well as ethanol as well.
Okay, thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.